What's poppin', everybody? It's Bro94. It only took me so long, like a couple of years maybe even by now, but I finally have the necessary cards to show you guys a cool Metagross GX deck. I remember when Guardians Rising, I was about to, the scans were already out, the English cards, the set was out, but I was looking at the cards, I think for the first time, looking at all the cards in the set, and I'm looking at, wow, Metagross GX, an actual good Metagross card, since probably even the Meta Knight days. High HP, stage 2, geotech system, great ability. The attack seems solid too. Algorithm, good GX attack. It all seemed great, and this is a good card. Maybe not so much these days, but we're still gonna make good use of it. It's still a strong Pokemon. So Metagross GX, the best thing about it, the main highlight I guess, is that it's a stage 2 GX Pokemon. And with that it gets 250 HP. This is going to be very important because it's part of the combo for this deck to work. Standard stuff. If you guys are familiar with Metagross GX, you probably know what it is. And the other very important thing that we have is Geotech System or Geotech System. Basically, once during your turn, you can grab a Psychic or Metal Energy from your discard pile and attach it to your active Pokemon. So it's basically the energy acceleration from the discard pile, but it attaches it to the active Pokemon as opposed to the bench Pokemon. Now, even though it's still, you don't have the flexibility to attach it anywhere like the old Typhlosion Prime did, it's much better to have the option to attach it to the active Pokemon as opposed to the bench Pokemon. Because what this means is that, we promote our main Pokemon that are going to attack, or we keep our active dude active, if that even makes sense, and then we attach the energies over there. We don't have to do switch shenanigans like we usually have to do with Ray Eels, Bronzong, Malamar, where you gotta put the energies on the bench dude and then move them back. So in this case, if our active Pokemon, would attack and discard energies, then you have to go back to the bench to get the energies back. But in this case, attaching them on the active Pokemon is better. So good ability for sure. Now with that, we get 2 attacks, Giga Hammer, an attack that does 150 for 3 energy, and this Pokemon can't use Giga Hammer during your next turn. Now this attack, it looks good on paper, but it's actually not the greatest. It's solid damage. The cost that you can't use Giga Hammer next turn isn't that big. The problem is the damage is in that zone where it doesn't really take care of the Pokemon we want to take care of. These days, stage 1 GX Pokemon and Pokemon even bigger than that are the Pokemon you want to get one-hit knockouts on. So, it's not the same as when we used to want to hit 180 damage to knock out the EX Pokemon. So even if you attach a choice band on this dude, we're still in that 180 range. We can knock out a few things, but not quite everything we want to knock out. So I'm going to show you guys how we're sort of going to solve this problem. And then with Algorithm GX, its GX attack, it's actually quite good. This is a strategic Pokemon. If you get this guy out and you're still sort of lacking in resources, we'll use Algorithm GX and we can grab any 5 cards from the deck, put them into the hand. So what are you usually going to do when you use this? You do want to use this if you can, especially early. We're probably going to get a Max Potion, a couple of Evolution pieces to get any other Metagross GX if they're not out, and basically anything else you need. But you really just want to take advantage of the fact that you can get any cards and get stuff like Max Potion perhaps, maybe you get a Switch, maybe you get even a supporter, just on and on, a Field Blower, anything, it's good. The bottom stats, I guess I didn't talk about them. This is a metal Pokemon. Typical metal Pokemon these days have the psychic resistance. That can be handy. Fire weakness can be troublesome, like with any weakness. And the 3 retreat cost is big, but it actually sort of works out in the combo we want to do here. So yeah, it's big, maybe not so good, but it is what it is. And fire weakness, it is troublesome against Blacephalon GX. That is a popular deck right now. That guy is strong. That Pokemon is designed to get one-hit knockouts as it is anyway. So, the fact that we sort of help it out, discard less energy, it only has to discard like 3. And it can get a knockout on a big GX Pokemon like this. And we don't want that. You want this guy to take a hit or two, stick around. That's the point of the drawback of having a stage 2 GX. Okay, So this is the main Pokemon, of course, and unlike Blaziken, that we want, we need to get two different Blaziken Stage 2 Pokemon out for the combo to work. In this case, Metagross is the main Pokemon, the main attacker, what I meant to say. Even though he's not so great, the concept of this deck is not exactly to get one-hit knockouts all the time. We can still do so, but we want to tank, do a little bit of damage and then get a two-hit knockout. Maybe do a little bit of damage with one of the other attackers and then finish them off with Metagross, or just perform two attacks with Metagross GX. Okay, so the line for this dude is going to be 4 Beldum. Of course, you got to have your basic Pokemon. We don't have that many great Beldums. There is one that has 60 HP that gets free retreat if it has energies on, something like that. The same ability that the Magnemite from Breakthrough had. But I don't really like it because it does have a 2 retreat cost anyway, so it means you're going to need a couple. And 70 HP is much more important. In this case, we only have a couple of Pokemon, like it's just a Beldum. So I don't really see the point of running Professor Elm just for one Pokemon. In Blaziken and in other decks, there's other small Pokemon that we might want to pick up. As you guys can see, I'm not running the Alolan Vulpix engine here or the Alolan Ninetales. So since we're not going to use Elm, we're going to use Apricot Maker. Might as well use Beldum with the 70 HP, what I meant to say. We got one Metang. I'm using the Celestial Storm 1 with 90 HP and the Bullet Punch. This attack is cool because it's one energy attack. Maybe sometimes it'll come up. You never know. If you get a couple of hits, it becomes a decent attack, I guess, for a stage 1 that can still evolve. The main Pokemon is Metagross GX. You need at least 3. Anything less than that, and you probably won't do the combo efficiently. You want to have 3, and not just have them in the deck. It's ideal to have 3 on the bench too, like 3 Metagrosses in play. Okay, so this is the Metagross line. Then for our support dudes, we have the dhelmise here, dhelmise. So this psychic Pokemon is our other way to do extra damage. We have this dude sit on the bench, and with Steel Worker, we do 10 more damage with this dude. So I have 2 dhelmise here. If both of them are down, it means that we're doing 20 extra damage. So with the choice band, that's 50. 50 plus 150, that's 200. So this way, we actually get a lot more significant one-hit knockouts on GX Pokemon and other basic GX Pokemon with 190 HP. Now, if you can get one-hit knockouts, that's great. That's actually very ideal. It becomes a very powerful deck if you can get one-hit knockouts with this dude. But it's not going to be entirely our focus. A couple of dudes can't survive. Now, Solgaleo, though, he can do the attack as well. With the Choice Band and the 2 Dhelmises, we do 160 with Corona Impact. So that means we can actually take care of popular Stage 1 GX Pokemon with 210 HP. Like Zoroark GX, I can't think of anybody else, but, any other Stage 1 GX Pokemon with 210 HP. And it's a great attack, of course. It needs an extra energy, but it's great. This is a Prism basic Pokemon, so we're going to run it. Radiant Star is always useful as well. Can grab a lot of metal energies from the discard pile this way too. So since we're running, discarding outlets, we want to discard our metal energies in the discard pile anyway. It works out perfectly in a deck like this. Very, very nice. Great basic Pokemon. Now the other guys are going to be these Registeels. So this is sort of your mini Eviltal dude from the X and Y days. It just attacks with 1 energy, does solid 30 damage for 1, and you can always grab a basic energy card from your discard pile. So it's nice. Iron Hand isn't a great attack, we probably will never use it, but I guess maybe if you ever powered it up, you can do 90 for 3. The Regice effect, we can't have that, but doesn't matter. So there's a bunch of metal basic Pokemon that you can use, but this is just a nice dude that attacks with 1 energy, and it's great when you build up Metagross on the bench too, because sometimes you want to get a couple of attacks with this dude, and it works out better this way. So it's a nice little Pokemon. If everything goes right, you maybe use a small attack with this guy, do 30 damage. Your opponent's big GX Pokemon is softened up a little bit. So then with the add-ons, or even without them, maybe Metagross just with a choice band can finish anything else off then. So it's great. And these are basically the Pokemon, nothing really complicated. The last Pokemon is Tapu Lele GX. You gotta run one of this for consistency. We can attack with it too. We can actually use the GX attack in this deck as well, which might come in handy since we do heal in this deck. Healing is a part of our strategy. But this Pokemon is mainly here for Wonder Tag. You shouldn't run anymore because in a deck like this, we need a couple of different Pokemon on the bench to work. You want to have your dhelmises, you want to have your Metagrosses, and when you have Tapu Lele GX2, you probably can't afford to have like two of those down on the bench. So one should do the job. Okay, so now we have our consistency stuff. You got to have the nest balls, 3 nest ball, 1 mystery treasure. It's great because I can grab a Tapu Lele, but in this case we can grab dhelmise too. So nice, it's a discard outlet as well. Then we gotta have the 3 Ultra Balls, our main discard outlet. Discard Metal Energies, grab any Pokemon. In this case, we're probably gonna grab the Metagross GX. It's the best way to search it. There's no Heavy Ball, there's no other way to search this guy. So great. Of course, you can use it for Tapu Lele GX. That's great too. Now, these are basically the balls. I don't think I have any other item searcher here for Pokemon. Then we have our energy searches, I guess. You only have 1 energy lotto here since I don't have letter in standard right now. I guess it's still a good card. Reveal 7. You should see 1 energy, get an energy. I really wish we had at least energy search if we're not gonna have Professor's letter. I mean, energy lotto can be good sometimes when you run DCs and special energies in the deck and you want to see them. But in this case, since it's all basic energies, I would really just want to guarantee an energy with energy search. Okay. Since this is a stage 2 deck, you gotta have your rare candy, 4 of these, and I have my usual text as always. You gotta have the 1 stretcher here, the let's see, field blower, 2 field blower, very good. And in this case, all of our dudes are kind of have big retreat costs beside Tapu Lele, so there's no escape board, just 2 switches. Even though Metagross puts the energy on the active position, maybe there are some situations where you do want to switch. But in this deck, there's actually situations where you might not even need just even 1 switch. Like maybe just running 1 is okay. Even though this is an energy acceleration deck that grabs the energies from the discard pile, it's not really like Malamar. You don't really need to switch around, have control over the board like that in the same vein. So 2 switch is okay. And we have our Titan Lizard too anyway, but more on that later. And those are all the standard stuff. Now for the stuff we usually don't see always. The stadium in this deck is Ultra of the Sun. This card is our only way to basically negate the effectiveness of fire Pokemon. If we're going up against any fire deck, whether it's Blaziken, Blaziken, whatever, if we have this out and it stays, then hopefully we can eliminate our weakness to fire. Otherwise, this deck has even a harder time. And metal fire Pokemon can use that too, but that doesn't matter. You don't care. There's a couple of other stadiums you could use if you don't want to run this, like the Sky Pillar, block the bench damage and not care about Tapu Koko and Weavile. There's a few other stadiums you can run, I guess, but I want to run this to eliminate my fire weakness and hopefully tank better. Okay, and it's important to run stadiums these days, especially because you can't get rid of the Prism stadiums with Field Blower. So you want to have your own stadium to counter, stadiums like the Heat Factory Prism, and the other prism stadiums. I don't remember them, but we have quite a few now with Lost Thunder, and we're gonna get even more. Okay, so now for the techs that normally you don't see every day. I'm pretty sure. Okay, we have the choice bands too, but I'd already talked about those. You You basically run 2 of these to boost the damage of Metagross. Only 2 because space is really an issue in a deck like this. If I had the space and the deck was consistent, I would run like 3, but 2, you should get the job with 2. You don't always want to get one-hit knockouts. And you don't just want to play this for the sake of playing it. You want to play it and at least get a significant effect with it. Like if you know you're not going to get one-hit knockouts anyway, maybe you should save it and play it at the right time in a different Pokemon. Anyway, but now the last card we got to talk about is the Max Potion. Now I run 2 Max Potion in this deck. It's another card that I would run 3 and even 4 if space wasn't a thing, but it's one of these cards that can actually sort of clog. You don't want it to sit around in your hand, and you don't really get to make your plays, and then you wait to get hit so you can play it. You want to get going and then have this and play it at the right time as well. So 2 because of space and consistency. So the combo with Metagross GX is pretty simple. This guy attacks with Giga Hammer. Then, since you can't attack next turn, you retreat, you lose the 3 energies, you promote another Metagross, and then you attach the energies with this guy's effect with Geotech system. If you have 3 out, you can instantly power them up. If you have 2, then you get 2 energies, and then you can manually attach 1 from your hand. So even if you have 2 down on the bench, you have like 2 in play, what I meant to say, you can still make the combo if you have energies in hand. So it's a little bit forgiving. But this is basically what this deck does when it's not using other attackers. Like we could have used Duskman and Necrozma in this deck, but I'm going with the pure Metagross here and running other small basic Pokemon that give 1 prize. Uh, just focus on Metagross GX here. Duskman needs 4 energy to attack, and that can sometimes be too slow. There's a bunch of variables, but with Metal decks and Metagross, we have a lot of Metal Pokemon and a lot of Metal support. You can build them with plenty of ways. You can go the classic route, run this with something like the Solgaleo, Stage 2. There's even a new Solgaleo, the Solgaleo GX promo, and that Pokemon is pretty powerful. But this is what you want to do, and you want to time your Max Potion right. Since we only run 2, you never want to discard this card. It's not like I'm running a couple and maybe if I discard 1 with Ultra Ball is okay. This is a card you never want to discard if you can help it. Maybe sometimes you won't be able to save it, but you always never want to discard. You want to use both of them for your Metagrosses, heal all the damage, and take even more hits. And it can be incredibly annoying for your opponent if they can't get a knockout. Now, there's a bunch of other things you can run, I guess, to increase your defenses, like the Frying Pan. It has the effect of Ultra of the Sun as well, eliminating your weakness. A bunch of stuff you can do. But this is basically what you do in this deck. The main attacker is going to be Metagross GX here. Solgaleo can put in the work too. If you get its energies on, I can get 1-hit knockouts much easier because it hits at 210 range. And that's basically the deck. I tried to make it as consistent, as speedy as possible, considering it is an energy acceleration deck like Malamar, but it requires rare candies since this is a stage 2. So there's that. And the only thing that's left to talk about is the supporters and energies. For Cynthia, standard as always, we have our 1-off Copycat here, not bad. And we have our 2 Lily. This card is great, and especially in a deck like this where we discard a lot of cards too. And then we have Liza. One of this card is nice as well. We can even switch with this card too, so it's nice. Helps us out that way. And then 2 Volkner. Now Volkner is like a Scala dude, so that's why I run 2. And I really just want to grab rare candies and all of the items that we have here. Maybe you want to get a Max Potion with this. So 2 is pretty good. And then the last supporter is the 1-off Apricot Maker. I have already explained, since we don't have a lot of small basic Pokemon that we want to get, there's no point running Elm just for, 4 60 HP Beldums. So I'm going with Apricot Maker. In this case, it can get me the Ultra Ball too. And this way we run the Beldum with the 70 HP. Nice, nice. Okay, depending on the game state, you might want to use this turn 1, or most of the time you probably want to use Lily. But that's the situation. So these are the supporters. It's basically 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, a solid number. We've got Lele too. We have a bunch of ways. I try to make it as consistent as possible, but the techs that are usually in are still in. I have the double field blower, double switch, stretcher, a lot of cards. There's no Guzma. Guzma really helps in a deck like this. There's a few times where you'd be happy to have it, but I really don't know what to take out to put a Guzma in. Everything is in here for a reason. I don't even want to take out one of the switches. So yeah, but if you want to run Guzma, probably the best thing you want to take out is perhaps a switch, maybe an energy. I don't know. I'm always wary that maybe I'm going to need a switch and then I had to discard one or it's prized. So that's why I want to run two if we're not going to run escape board. Okay, and now for the energies. Just 12 energies, kind of standard for these sort of decks. But in this case, we're running 2 psychic energies too. Now the cool thing with Metagross, it's kind of like the Hit EX in Legends Metagross where you can grab psychic energies too. I think something like that. And it's cool that you can grab psychic energies too. And we're going to take advantage of this in this case. I wish it actually maybe attacked with the psychic energies too. Like it required psychic and metal. And maybe it did a lot higher damage, like it did like 180, let's say, 190, but whatever. But the psychic energies are basically here for dhelmise. Now this Pokemon doesn't have that great of an attack, Anchor Shot doing 70 for 3, but you gotta keep in mind this is a psychic Pokemon. Fighting decks are still pretty popular, so maybe against them we can actually slap a Choice Band on this Pokemon, and then we can do 200 damage for weakness, and we can take care of Pokemon like Buzzhole GX very efficiently, not even promoting our Stage 2 GX Pokemon. So it's nice, and you never know when the you can't retreat effect might come in handy. So that's the point, it's in here. And Tapu Lele can even use this too. Maybe you're going to use Tapu Cure GX and heal all of your guys like that. You probably won't do it, but it is what it is in some sort of weird situation. Why not? You have that option. But it's mostly for dhelmise if you even use it to attack. Metagross is kind of flexible. It's not like it requires 3 metal energies to use its attack. So what we're usually going to do is slap one on this guy anyway. You can discard them when you retreat either way. And you can regulate your energies in the discard pile really nicely with a deck like this. So 2 psychic energies, these Call of Legends nice ones right here. You can drop them completely, put all metal energies. You can even put lightning so you can get a sort of plus with this guy. A lot of options. But that's how I have the deck. I'm going to show you guys games. It's a nice little deck once it gets going. It is sort of slower than other decks like Sabotage GX and Blazefalon. It probably is going to kill you. Other faster decks can get the drop on you, and it's kind of hard when you play against Zoroark GX control decks. You're basically at their mercy when they run. Basically, any deck that runs a bunch of Acerolas of their own, and you can't get one-hit knockouts, then they kind of have you at your mercy. We only have 2 max potions, and if they use their Acerolas right and do their stuff right, and they have a lot of them, a lot of ways to heal, and a lot of combos like that, then you can't win against those decks. It's not like we can do insane damage like if we had Rayquaza, stack it up with energies and get one-hit knockouts. Your damage is kind of fixed, so that sucks. But like I said, this is a sort of tankier strategic deck. We've got Algorithm, we've got our max potions. That's how this deck rolls. So, oh my god, lots of talking. I'm going to post games with this deck, of course. I've been having some good fun with it, even though it's kind of slow. But it's Metagross. It looks awesome as a full art. And as with any deck, I'm going to post a few games, show you guys how I run the deck and how it performs. I did pretty okay with it. It's still kind of a good, maybe tier 2, tier 3 deck if you have the cards, I guess. And if you get a bit lucky, maybe if you use it with something like Solgaleo, the promo one, it becomes much better. Lots of options. But anyways, this is the deck, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. If you're not subscribed to my channel, now is a good time to do so. My channel is an excellent hub for all things Pokemon TCG, both recent stuff and both retro. I'll show you guys games, and I'll see you guys next time. Leave a like, share this with your friends. Please subscribe. Cerebro94 was Seb.